And in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, who missed last week's game with a shoulder injury, has been able to practice all week. Officially listed as questionable, but there is a lot of optimism around Jacksonville that he will be able to return and start for them this week. I think there's pain in the shoulder, but he believes he can try and fight through it, and this is a game the Jaguars pretty much need to win. They could get in with a loss, but they need a lot of extra help. So I would expect Trevor Lawrence to answer the bell in Tennessee on Sunday.
Yeah, they're 3.5-point favorites, but again, they want to clinch those back-to-back division titles, which they would do with a win. Thank you, Dan. The Jaguars do control their own destiny, beat the Titans, and they take the AFC South. Now, as Dan mentioned, the Jaguars could still clinch a wild card spot if they lose, but they would need losses by both the Broncos and the Steelers. We're going to get into that Steelers-Ravens game in a bit. So, Mina, the Jags lost 4 in a row. They just did not look good. Of course, they managed to beat the Panthers last week to stop that losing streak, but who must step up for them in this game?
Yeah, well, it goes without saying Trevor Lawrence can't turn over the football, but I'm going to actually go to the other side of the ball and focus on the Jags pass rush, because this Titans offensive line has been one of the weakest in football all year. You just saw against the Houston Texans, Ryan Tannehill was pressured on 56% of dropbacks.
Yes,
Will Levis, before he went out, was pressured on 57%. Those are very high numbers. And this is a Jags rush that has looked elite at times, with Josh Allen leading the way, Trayvon Walker being disruptive this year. But then there have been games where they haven't been as much of a force. This is a game where they need to show up. They can single-handedly win it for this team and send them straight into the postseason. All right, so as we take a look at our picks for this game, once again, I got up this morning and said I'm going to take every spoiler possible. We appreciate it. I don't think it's outside the realm of possible. Keep us off those graphics, Hannah. Mina, help me out. I mean, the Jags have not looked good.
Graphics.
Do you think? No, I will help you out. It's Mike Vrabel. He drags teams into hell. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Thank you. He wins all kinds of games he's not supposed to win. He would relish the opportunity to ruin life for a divisional rival.
The Miami game just happened a few weeks ago.
That's right.
So it's not out the realm of possibility.
And it's been a crazy season.
Yep.
It really has. Really hard to predict. So why not go for the spoiler? Let's have a little fun here. Let's go to those Steelers. They would make the playoffs with a win over the Ravens and a loss by either the Bills or the Jaguars. Pittsburgh could still get in if they lose that game, but then they would need a Broncos win and a Jaguars loss. So Mason Rudolph looking to go 3-0 for the Steelers. Mike Tomlin said he is going with the hot hand. They're facing a good quarterback on the other side. Obviously, it's not Lamar Jackson. He gets about 3 weeks rest here, but Tyler Huntley is going for the Ravens. What do the Steelers need to do to keep their playoff hopes alive?
Let me start off with this. Don't take Tyler Huntley lightly.
Right.
We've seen him play really good football if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then the second thing is go with the hot hand and Mason Rudolph. But the real hot hand is when he hands it off to Warren and Najee Harris with the way that this team is running the football. They're doing it out of multiple formations. They've gotten back to having an identity. And this is what we relate to the Pittsburgh Steelers, being a physical team up front and making people respect the fact that they can run the football successfully enough to win football games, and we've seen it for the last couple of weeks. And then, too, when you think about Mike Tomlin, right, we saw Mike Tomlin almost get into the playoffs. I think they did with Duck Hodges at quarterback, right? He's figured out ways to make this team morph into what they need to be. So when you look at Pittsburgh, the identity has become the run game, and then defensively, we know what they can do from a pass rush standpoint. I'm going to tell you this right now. If the Pittsburgh Steelers get into the playoffs with this brand of football that they're playing right now, if they're able to stay true to that, it won't be about Mason Rudolph. It'll be about the run game, and it'll be about T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith. And that is a scary proposition for everybody in the NFL.
Wait, really quickly, would you keep Rudolph as a quarterback if they do get in?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Because I don't think Kenny Pickett has done enough for him to just walk into the building and say, give me my job back. I'm going to go help us win.
Yeah, it's not without the realm of possibility. We're going to see Tomlin back and maybe someone else at quarterback next season. Certainly could be. All right, there you go. He likes Russell Wilson there. Okay, why not? Marcus, you're the only one, though, all of that having been said, that's picking the Ravens.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they care about preseason games. What makes you think they don't care about this game that's coming up? And I'll tell you this, too. Like, when you talking about about individual opponents.
Yeah.
The Ravens don't want Pittsburgh Steelers with an opportunity to get in the playoffs.
These teams hate each other.
They do.
Let's call it like
Send
it
them
is.
home.
They'd love to send them home. All right, two teams that will be in the spotlight this weekend are the Texans and the Colts. Winner gets in the playoffs and takes the division title if Jacksonville loses or ties. Now, it's really a winner-take-all situation, right? Because the loser of this game, they are out of the playoffs. So, Swagoo, how do you see this Texans defense trying to game plan for the Colts?
This goes back, Mina mentioned this. This goes back to when they hired DeMeco Ryans in Houston, and I said this was a home run.
Absolutely.
And now you're starting to see the manifestation of a mentality. And that's what I love about them defensively. We knew that DeMeco Ryans was a really good defensive mind, but there is a brand of football that he likes to play on that side of the football, and I think it's coming to fruition. We saw this team earlier in the year get after the quarterback. They drafted Will Anderson, which is in the vein of DeMeco Ryans, obviously taking C.J. Stroud and doing it with a very young team. Stingley on the back end is starting to take the football away and becoming that corner that they feel comfortable with, matching up one-on-one with the best guy on the other side. Here's the thing that I like about what the Texans are doing defensively. They letting their hair out. They letting it hang out. Like there is no compromise in we're going to wait for you to show us what we need to do or what adjustment that we need to make. And that's the ultimate respect I had for DeMeco when he was in San Francisco. The really good defenses in the NFL, obviously you got to have the players, but they want to dictate to offenses what they want to do. I think the Texans have been doing a phenomenal job of that the past couple of weeks.
He's been a great head coach, too, which doesn't always happen with a great assistant. He has completely changed the culture of that franchise and really fashioned it in his own personality.
Could you imagine if this team had J.J. Watt in his prime?
Wow, man.
Like, we would have a completely different conversation about Houston right now if he was there. And they still playing well.
I tell you what, Mina, it has been painful for the Texans at times with the Colts. You know, they just come in there and they ruin the day at the very end. Just all hope just evaporating at the hands of going back to Peyton Manning.
Mina, I'm sorry. What's the Houston thing? What
do you mean?
What's the relationship?
That's like my adopted hometown. That's kind of like Mina and Seattle.
I never understood it.
Me and Houston, you and the Cowboys.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like a thing.
I mean, other than me playing for it.
What intrigues you the most when our friend C.J. Stroud and the Texans have the ball? No Tank Dell, obviously.
Yeah, I think for this Colts defense, one of the biggest challenges is how good C.J. Stroud has been, obviously generally, but particularly against cover 3. He's been the second best quarterback in football when facing cover 3 this year. And anyone who's watched Kyle Shanahan offenses understands why. This is Bobby Slowick, who's offensive coordinator, obviously coming from San Francisco. They measure in concepts that are basically designed to beat cover 3. The problem for Indianapolis is they play amongst the most cover 3 in the entire NFL. So I think for their defensive coordinator, Gus Bradley, you really have to seriously consider at least slightly changing some of your tendencies up. Maybe you play a little bit more man on early downs, a little bit more split safety shells to protect against the deep ball on late downs. Because I personally believe if they just come out and play as much cover 3 as they've been playing, that standard 3-man shell, C.J. Stroud will carve them up.
Yep. You know, this is week 18. I've been doing the show on Fridays for most of the season. This is my favorite ever show. We are all picking the Texans.
Oh, you did?
Okay. I was the only one to ever pick them.
Oh.
And y'all made fun of me every week. And now here we are, like one big happy family.
We've been loving the Texans.
It's so great. Yeah. I love it.
CJ's had a concussion.
I hope that's not bad luck. Don't y'all have some kind of curse here?
It's
like
a curse.
But
it's only 3. It's only 3.
Okay, good.